Another experiment, Faculty of Natural Science, Department of Molecular Biology, and the professor Silvana Andrić conducted one interesting study on rats. What was the design of experiment and what we wanted to explore? We have used middle-aged rats, so those are rats that are around 50 or 60 years old in a human lifespan. We used these middle-aged rats, and we wanted to explore their will and their strength to run more on the wheel. Basically, what we did, we recorded them every 6 minutes during day and during night during 60 days, which is around 5 or 6 years in the human lifespan. We recorded their physical activity, and we wanted to see what will happen with those rats. The professor Silvana decided to use only the dose that corresponds only to 2 capsules in humans, and we personally we didn't expect any significant result because those rats were old, and the dosage is quite low. We expected something, but when we got all the results, and it was many numbers. Can you imagine? 6 minutes, every 6 minutes during 60 days, a lot of rats, many numbers. And when we statistically evaluated these results, we got some interesting results. Comparing to the control group of rats that were on 2 capsules of carnosine extra per day has run 40% more without any stimulus. They were in the same cage. They simply have the will and the strength to run 40% more, even only just on 2 capsules per day. These results can be, we are witnessing these results, for example, in depressive patients that are reporting us that they have more will to do things. Now we are seeing that rats also have more will to do things. And also, this can be implicated into the sports performances because they had a strength in dosage to run 40% more than the control group. We are very proud of our first clinical study. It's going to be on metabolic syndrome. Department of Pharmacology at the Medical Faculty University of the Novi Sad is preparing our first clinical study. What is actually metabolic syndrome? Metabolic syndrome is a cluster of conditions that includes high blood pressure, high sugar levels, excess body fat around the waist, and abnormal cholesterol levels, which when they are showing together are increasing the risk of getting stroke, of getting heart diseases, of getting diabetes. Metabolic syndrome is actually closely linked to inactivity and obesity, and it is associated with one condition that we call insulin resistance. So metabolic syndrome will probably bring us to diabetes, to stroke, to heart diseases. And what is interesting fact that nearly 35% of adult US population have estimated to have a metabolic syndrome, and that's a lot. We knew from literature that L-carnosine can prevent glycation, can prevent oxidation, and can help people with metabolic syndrome. But we wanted to prove that in metabolic syndrome by using our product Carnosine Extra. We already obtained all regulatory and ethics committees approvals to conduct this study, and this study will include more than 100 animals, mice and rats will be used, and around 30 to 50 patients with diabetes type 2. We will actually measure their glucose levels, their insulin levels, their cholesterol levels. We will measure their antioxidative capacity and the inflammatory markers before and 3 months after taking the carnosine. And we simply can't wait to see the results. Actually, this will be the PhD thesis of our medical student, Nikola Martic. And I hope that more than 3 or 4 papers will be published about this experiment. Also, we are very proud of our portal Carnopedia. So Carnopedia.com is a portal which we have created. There are more than 2,000 papers about L-carnosine published on the PubMed right now. We have read together with Carnomed team, together with some other enthusiasts from different disciplines, so biologists, pharmacists, and medical doctors. We have read most of these papers. We selected the most important facts. We simplified them, wrapped them up, and published on this portal Carnopedia. So Carnopedia should serve as a scientific source of all the properties of L-carnosine. There you can find what is L-carnosine, its biological activities, its history of origin, roles in different diseases, about the enzymes that degrade carnosine, and so on. Carnopedia is designed for patients and for medical doctors as well. Their all world's knowledge actually about L-carnosine is summarized on this portal, and we actually translated Carnopedia in 8 different world languages, so you can find Carnopedia in French, in Spain, in Polish, and some other languages. I would suggest you to visit our portal. It is very hard to obtain and complicated to obtain ethics committees approvals for conducting the clinical study. Actually, we just got one study approved about metabolic syndrome, but we wanted to explore effects of carnosine extra on the people who have multiple sclerosis. And since we already have a product which is without side effects and it's already on the market, we decided to conduct our own unofficial studies on multiple sclerotic patients. And we wanted to follow them somehow and to see the improvements. We had 50 patients diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, with different types of MS, with different age, with different gender, with different severity, with different duration of sickness. So everything was different except the dosage of 6 capsules per day that we're taking. We actually borrowed questionnaires from National MS Society, from National US MS Society. We translated those questionnaires into the Serbian language, and we send those questionnaires to our patients. We instructed them to be as objective as they can, and to respond and to feel the question is as more real, and to be very objective. We instructed them to fill the questionnaires before they were starting to take the carnosine extra and after each month of supplementation. Even though the questions were so, let's say, kind of simple, we were kind of surprised about how many valuable information we got out of these questionnaires. So the first questionnaire was Modified Fatigue Impact Scale, which is the instrument that provides us with assessment of how fatigue influences patients' life in the terms of physical, psychosocial, and cognitive subscale. So here are the results. This is physical, psychosocial, cognitive, and total modified fatigue impact scale score. This is before their fatigue levels, before they were taking the Carnosine Extra, and after first, second, and the third month. You can see in all scales we are witnessing that fatigue is reduced and that don't influence their life as much as without the Carnosine. The second questionnaire was SF36, which is a questionnaire about quality of lives of patients with multiple sclerosis. There are many questions and many answers we gathered out of this questionnaire, but I will show you just answers on the few questions. So this is one of the questions. In general, would you say your health is? So we have excellent, very good, good, fair, or poor. What is here? The dark blue is before taking the Carnosine, after 1 month, after 2 months, yellow is after 3 months, and the blue one is after 4 months. So excellent, less than 4% reported that they were excellent before taking the Carnosine, and we are having 12% is reporting the excellent condition after 4 months of taking Carnosine Extra. Similar scale, very good. And look at the poor. Poor condition were before taking the L-carnosine were reported in more than 40% of the cases. After 4 months, less than 15. Very, very significant results. The other question, how much bodily pain have you had during the past 4 weeks? This is question about the pain. None. Very mild, mild, moderate, severe. You can see severe pain, 25, more than 25% are before taking the Carnosine Extra is reporting severe pain. But after 4 months of Carnosine Extra, maybe 2 or 3%. The same is with moderate pain. So our patients are experiencing less pain when taking Carnosine Extra for 4 months in the dosage of 6 capsules per day. The third question, did you have a lot of energy? Look at this. All of the time, maybe 10% are reporting. After 4 months of Carnosine Extra, more than 20%. And look at this, most of the time, before taking Carnosine Extra, most of the time, a lot of energy had less than, let's say, 3%. But after 4 months of taking the Carnosine, almost 50% are reporting that they have most of the energy, a lot of energy most of the time. Quite amazing results.